Okay, so here we've got the graphics subroutine. Now in this subroutine, we started off with the first line, grid equals, and then 2 speech marks that are blank for column in range max width, for row in range max height. What does that mean? Very simple. We are going to put together a 2D array here. Okay, we're essentially creating a 2D array, and the length of this array is determined by max width and max height. You can see what those are here at the start of the program, whereas max width and max height is set to 100. So that will give us a 100 by 100 grid. Okay. Now the grid is going to be empty, or it's going to be just speech marks. We're then going to fill up this grid using a subroutine called clear grid. Okay. Let's have a look at what that one does. So here we've got the clear grid subroutine. And it says for row in range max height, for column in range max width, and then we're going to fill the grid by row and column with a dot. So essentially, all of those blank speech marks we entered into the grid 2D array are going to be filled with that full stop. We've then got the header variable. Header equals file header. File header is a subroutine. Let's have a look at what file header does. So here we've got the file header class, and you can see within the file header class we have defined some information here using the init subroutine, and we've defined some variables here within file header. To make things easier for you to understand, and this will make sense after, if you look in your text files, you will see every text file right at the top there is some data. Okay, that data will be stored into this init subroutine. It'll be stored within there. So the first, and then they're split by commas. So the first item data will be stored under self-title. The next one goes into width. The next one goes into height. The next one goes into file type. This is data that will help us to create our images, and that subroutine allows us to make sense of the data. We've now got this variable called program end. So program end is set to false. This is obviously going to be used as a condition, and you can see that in the very next line. It's got the while loop where it says while not program end. So essentially, while program end is false. Simple. Okay, that means we want to run our program. So now it says to run the display menu subroutine. By the name, you can already tell what it does, but we'll have a look at it anyways. Let's have a look at the display menu subroutine. So here is the display menu subroutine. So this is a pretty straightforward subroutine. All it essentially does is output data. Okay, so when you run display menu, it will just output all of these items. Where you've got print and the blank brackets, that outputs a blank line. Okay, and then we go to the main menu, and it shows the user the options that are available to them. Let's go back to the graphics subroutine. So here we go. With display menu, then underneath that it says menu option equals get menu option. So it's now calling a subroutine. Let's have a look at the get menu option subroutine. So in the get menu option subroutine, it says menu option equals empty string. And then it says while the length of the menu option is not equal to 1. Then it says menu option equals input, enter your choice. And then it says return menu option. So this is obviously a function that returns some data to the program. In a nutshell, most of this code is being used as a validation rule to ensure the user is entering suitable data. Okay. As you know, from the menu, you can only actually add a letter. You can only enter a letter. So if they enter something that's more than one letter, of course, they're going to be told to enter another choice each time. Okay. Once they have entered something that is suitable, where they enter will be stored into menu option. So let's go back to the graphics subroutine. Okay, so here you can see whatever is being returned from the get menu option is now stored in the variable called menu option. So essentially you can see get menu option, which is being used to allow the user to not only just enter an option from the menu, but also to validate their option as well. Have they entered an appropriate item of data here? So then, after we've sorted out the option the user wants to enter, it then has a series of if statements or elif statements, and then an else as well. The else is there just in case the user enters a character, a single-digit character, that is not suitable. So another little bit of validation there. They'll be told they didn't enter a valid menu option, try again, and then they'll be brought back to the start of that while loop, which will redisplay the menu to them, and then allow them to then enter a menu option using the menu option variable, and of course the get menu option subroutine, which is stored in that variable. Okay. The other options available within the selection direct you to a series of different subroutines. We're going to look at these in the next video.